What's going on, Swarm Trappers? We have the first confirmed catch of 2020, as you can see right here behind me. This was a spot that I really didn't think we were going to have a lot of luck with. And here's why. This is a north-facing slope, which in the past, I think this is the first swarm I've ever caught on a north-facing slope. And I actually have the box pointed west, which I usually point them either north or south. My preference is south. And so I did not expect to catch one here. However, I just wanted to give it a try. And so this is positioned in a valley. There's about 300 feet of elevation decrease up behind me. There's a big ridge, and this comes down to a creek bottom. This is down in the creek bottom. And that's another thing that kind of surprised me about this. Generally, I'm hanging my traps up on a ridge line at the highest point, with the thought that there's going to be more vegetation there for the bees to feed on. So, you know, I think this is a good point to make, that if you have a spot, even if it doesn't seem perfect on paper, just hang a swarm trap. So this one, as you can see, is in a ladder stand. One thing that's also unique about this one, this is about a quarter of a mile away from my bee yard. So I may have actually just caught one of my own hives. And so in a lot of the readings and online publications, they say you need to transfer a swarm between 2 and 5 miles away from where you caught it, or else they're just going to return to the location. I don't have 2 bee yards. I have 1 bee yard. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on this one, and I'm going to let them just start drawing out comb, and I'm going to wait 10 days. And my rationale behind that is there will be active larvae by then, because I have some drawn out comb in there. There will be active larvae, and the nurse bees are going to have to tend to that. They never abandon the larvae. And so my thought is, if I do that, if I transfer after 10 days, this will be their new home, and they're less likely to come back to this spot. However, I'm not sure if that's going to work. So if you've run into this, post down in the comments. What's going on, Swarm Trappers? This is David, the woodworking accountant. I am on site, about ready to recover a swarm that's up in this tree stand behind me. A couple things I'm doing different today. One, it's the morning. Typically I like to do this at night, but it is a little brisk this morning, and I think I can catch this hive before the foragers go out. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm using this Gorilla Glue duct tape. The reason I'm doing that is because last year I used this tape to cover the entrance, and last year I did that with some painter's tape, and the bees chewed through it, and it defeated the purpose of covering that entrance. So, but this stuff seems to be pretty stout, and should be a pretty good option. So come along, we're going to recover this, see how big of a swarm it is. Stay tuned. All right, we just had a long and bumpy ride from where I had this to the bee yard. So I am going to set up the hive and let this thing calm down a little bit. It really bounced around. As you can see today, my vehicle is this 1996 Yamaha Blazer, which, I mean, I don't need to say this, but this is a real stallion, a real workhorse of a four-wheeler. And so did a good job pulling that cart up the hill. And anyway, we'll get this, get my hive all set up, and we'll pull this out. It seems like a super small swarm. I'm interested to see what it looks like. I may actually end up putting it in a nuke box, but I need to see what we're working with first. All right, so first we have a small frame right here of bees. All right, another small frame of bees. This is a little bigger than I originally thought. All right, a third frame of bees. It looks like this trap didn't have any drawn out comb, so looks like they have been drawing out a little bit of comb. And would you look at that? Here's a wasp's nest, I think. All right, and after I've taken out all those bees, here's what's in the bottom here. And so I'm gonna do one dump and let these bees kind of migrate over to the hive throughout the course of the day.